Live from VentureX Studios, it's JP, Kathy, and the crew.
All right. So I think we've got some crazy weather outside if you're here in the North Texas area. So be safe, be safe, be safe. Crazy high winds, sideways rain reported in some portions of Collin County. So just be really careful. So we think it was causing a few technical issues in studio today, but Brett has got it under control now. So we're ready to rock with, and welcome back from Labor Day. We're ready to rock with Dr. Be Good of the Ask Dr. Be Good show. I don't hear anything. Oh, okay. Well, when Dr. Be Good comes on, we will have her chit-chatting with us. We've also got James Seller coming on today. We have Congressman Van Taylor coming on today. So just tons to update us on. We are getting ready to approach the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and we'll be doing a special tribute to those we lost and those brave heroes who helped us so much 20 years ago. Just look back, and 20 years went in the blink of an eye, and then we kind of look at, how safe are we now as Americans with all the unrest that has happened lately here in the Afghanistan area. So anyway, so just tons going on. Do we have Dr. Good yet? Let's see. I'm gonna ping her and let her know we are on. Okay, there we go. Hopefully we will be able to hear from her soon.
I'm here.
I'm here. Yes, there she is. All right. So sorry we had some technical issues earlier. How are you this morning?
I'm fine. I have an appointment I had to do at 8:30, so I drove here at the appointment place so that I could be on with you all.
I love it. Love it. We love it. Well, since you've got an appointment, let's get right into it. Let's talk about, okay, we're everybody has officially started school now, even those that didn't start until after Labor Day. We've got, some kids have been in school. It will almost be a month coming up here this week, which is insane. In the first month, if you're one of those who has already started before Labor Day, you started sometime in August. Dr. Good, what should parents be looking for? What should you be aware of with your kids?
So this was a really good time for me to reflect around the first month of school. Now that I have time, because I'm retired, I can do that.
Yes.
So, the first thing I would ask a parent is, have you had communication with your kids' teachers? If the answer is yes, hey, fantastic. Go to the how to do nice things for your teacher, to keep them happy, and do something on that list for them, right? Keep your teacher happy. She's communicating with you, or he's communicating, and that's great. Yep. But if you haven't had any communication, then it's time. If you've been in a month and you haven't had communication from any or some of the teachers, then you need to be proactive and reach out to them. So you can reach out and say, hey, how you doing? You've been in school now a month during this COVID time. I hope everything is fine. Anything I can do to support you, that kind of stuff. Oh, and how's my child doing, by the way?
Exactly.
You can write that, but be that friendly parent that cares, about the teacher as well. So that should get the communication flowing very well. And other reminders are, have you gotten a 3-week progress report? Because, if you're a 6-week school, for example, that you get a report card every 6 weeks, you normally get a progress report at the 3rd week, which lets you know if your kid's on track for passing.
Right.
If you haven't gotten a 3-week progress report, that might be a good reason to email also, to say, when is the progress report coming out? I'd like to know where my child is, which leads one to understand about grades and grading portals. Excuse me. Have you gone into your child's grade portal online and looked at grades? So if you are saying, oh my gosh, I haven't done that, I don't even know how to log in, call the school or reach out to the teachers and ask for your login information. Or you can also ask your child, because your child has access to the grading portal, his or her level of access, and they can share with you also where they are if the getting your logins is taking longer than what you'd like. Right. So these are all just reminders of what you should be thinking about. Here we are, the first month of school. hopefully your child's class hasn't been sent home because of COVID yet, and your child is getting in school actual teaching and learning. So now we need to see what the grades are looking like and what support that may need as well. So,
well, and again, you don't want your kid to get. It's one of those things. You've got to be proactive. You've got to teach your child, your student, to be proactive. It can't just fall in the lap of the school. This is one of those kind of an opportunity to teach self-responsibility, self-reliance, self-awareness, and things like that to your child, especially at a young age, which is what you like to do.
Yes, the best use of the grade portal in my world, and you've heard me say it, but I'm working to the gaps in the room as I always do, is that every weekend you should be sitting down with your child and say, let's open up the grade portal. Let's see what's happened this week. Are there any missing grades? Are there any missing assignments? And so that's a conversation that becomes an ongoing conversation about school, about the content area, about anything interesting that's happening in class and so forth. And so I would hope that over time that would become a very valuable relationship practice, right? That parents and kids would, the parents would enjoy it. I don't know. It depends on where the child is. The kids might not enjoy it. But if they knew that it was coming, if they knew it was coming every week, it would encourage them to get those assignments in and not have to talk about missing grades to the folks, right?
Right.
So there's that. So let's see, is your child special ed, 504, dyslexia, other health impaired? Have those teachers reached out? Have you heard from them? Have those practices even started? A lot of times, parents are surprised to hear that even after 3 or 4 weeks, the dyslexia services or the speech therapy hasn't started. And if it hasn't started, and you've asked your child and you say, no, I'm not being fooled, that's an email. That's, nobody should take 4 weeks to get services started, right? So again, all of these reminders to parents about making sure that the school is doing what they're supposed to be doing. And sometimes it takes friendly reminders from parents to get even the teachers and the administrators to go, oh yes, thank you for that reminder.
Right.
And so you keep it civil, you keep it professional, but you stay the advocate for your child that you need to be.
Right.
Because not every school is going to be that perfect school. It's run by humans, and we don't all have perfect humans in our school.
And we're not perfect.
Right? No. So student communication is another area of making sure a parent is doing that. Are you asking your child, if you're not doing the grade portal thing yet, are you asking your child about school? And when they get in the car, if you say, how was school? They say, fine. And you leave it at that.
That's not a conversation, right?
No, but that happens every day.
It
right?
does. Oh, I'm laughing at myself because that's the conversation that I have with my kids over the years, many a times. And I'm like, so you try to act that you've always encouraged, and this is what I've always tried to do, ask an open-ended question so it can't be yes, no, or fine.
Right. Did you learn anything today? No. Oh, well, it's good you're going back tomorrow, but let's talk about that, right?
Yes.
So you can't ask the yes and no questions because they're just going to give you the shortest answer. Their heads are rolling and spinning. They've been interacting with friends, and there's probably some mini drama going on in their grade level, and that's what they're thinking about. And so it's up to you not to ask them about that mini drama, because parents don't need to get involved in that. Let the kids self-modulate that if they can, and if they can't, the teachers will step in. But be that parent that asks things like, so what was your favorite part of your day today? And if they say lunch, say, okay, you can't say lunch and you can't say PE. Talk to me about some other, And so you almost have to out-maneuver them in their thinking, because they're going to try to give you the shortest answers. But here's what we're looking for now because of COVID, because we're in our 3rd year, because many kids are at school for the first time in a year and a half, especially our secondary kids. We've all heard the research on the middle schoolers, and they're the ones who had the most depression and so forth. Be looking for clues. Is your child enjoying or at least not balking much at having to get up and go to school a month in. There are clues. Kids, all negative behavior done by kids can be traced back to clues that were left by the kids all along, little crumbs of the trail.
Right.
When we reflect back, even on the serious stuff like school shootings and so forth, there were clues that were missed.
Right.
Now, we've gotten very good at picking up those clues, let me say that. And so there are whole trainings on picking up the clues of clues that lead to serious behavior when unchecked. But let's be proactive in making sure that the mental health of our kids is caught early. And so if you're seeing kids, yes, they're grumbling to get out of bed. They probably stayed up later than they should have after you said lights out. But they're still putting, their pants on, and they're still getting down to breakfast on time, and they're still getting out the door on time. And that's happening pretty regularly. Those are good clues that, nothing too bad is going on in school.
Right.
But if you're starting to pick up clues that doesn't want to get out of bed, doesn't want to talk, grades aren't great, teacher saying, not talking at all, matter of fact, very shut down. Those are mental health clues that we need to pay attention to, especially now.
Oh, definitely.
Right? And so,
well, and Dr. Good, what will your, these are all such great things. Are you going to continue this conversation on your show this Sunday? Because this is one of those, there's a lot of information here, especially, we've got the anniversary of 9/11 coming up. We've got the unrest around the world. We've got, COVID, pandemic, all of these things. So is this something you're going to be further discussing on Sunday?
I'm going to discuss this, and I also have a guest on, Neetu Rishi, who's written a second book. Her first book is called A Different Monday, where she talks about a parent and child turning Mondays into positive things. And so I think we've had so much politics lately in public education that I wanted to bring somebody on who can give us strategies to be more positive, especially on Mondays, right?
Yeah.
And so she has written a second book, and she's going to be talking about her second book called Unstoppable Me. And again, I'm trying to bring resources to our audience, to our parents, to our educators, to help themselves and their kids stay more positive in our very tumultuous world right now. Matter of fact, the last one on my checklist is the parent self-care. Are you remembering to model self-care in front of your children?
Absolutely, and that's so important.
We've done, we've talked about that before, the self-care of parents, but it's not only parent self-care, but it's modeling self-care in front of your kids, talking about why mom likes to go to the picture gallery, special exhibition all by herself, or maybe every once in a while taking an older child so that they can start that conversation around this particular peacemaker from this parent, right?
Right.
And so it could over time become that for the child. And I hate to be gender biased, but many times it's dads who use the golf course as their place to rest and to reflect and to let go, right, of the week's things that mentally drag them.
Well, so, moms and females, we're and that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But we take care of ourselves last. We absolutely, when you're a mom, you put yourself last on the family's priority list. You just do, and I think that does not send the right message, because if you're worn out, if you're wiped out, if you're sick, your kid doesn't have a good model to, hey, every so often mom's got to take time out for herself. I love y'all. You guys rock. I'm hitting the nail salon, or I'm hitting the jogging path, or whatever the case may be.
Taking a warm bath and I'm locking the door.
Yes. Nobody come in. No.
Not the dog, not the cat. I can see the paws under the door, but you're not getting in. I need my bubble bath time. It's important that kids know that parents need this time, so that when they get older, they will fall back on those strategies or their own strategies, but they'll give themselves permission. We females especially, we are guilty about guilt and not wanting to give ourselves permission to take the few minutes, right? The kids are fine. They're with dad or they're with somebody else, and you have 20 minutes. Take them.
Take it.
Be okay with it.
Absolutely. Well, we always appreciate you taking time out to be on our show, Dr. Good, and we will see you Sunday morning at 8 o'clock on the Ask Dr. Be Good show. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. All right. Great information, great advice. If you've got school-age parents and friends who have school-age kids, grandparents that you know that have their kids are in school now, send them this portion of the show. Let them know about this. We've got James Sellers from SiteMark on next, and very excited to have him with us. And James, we appreciate you waiting a few minutes. We had some technical issues. I don't know if you got caught in the crazy rain this morning. We're thinking maybe it's the weather. So how are you this morning?
Morning, Kathy. Things are great. Looks like the weather is about to hit here. So
brace yourself.
Soon too. It looks like a tough storm coming through.
Yeah, crazy weather out in the Collin County, Denton County area today. Well, let's get right into the meat of this. You know, we've talked about responsibility, your family, guns, the importance of being able to protect your family. Let's talk a little bit further about that today, and also if you'll right from the beginning tell people how they can get in touch with you, if they're interested in some of the products you sell, where do they go? Do they come physically in person? Can they buy it online? How do they get in touch with you, James?
Absolutely. Well, SiteMark is a leading manufacturer of some of the best optics in the industry, red dots, rifle scopes, and digital night vision. We're a company that was started in Texas. We're based in Mansfield. The best way to see our products would be go to our website, which is www.sitemark.com. And then you can also find our products in Academy, Bass Pro, Cabela's, independent gun stores all around the country.
Excellent. Well, we've got, I'm actually dropping that into one of our social media feeds this morning so people can get in touch with you and look at your products.
Excellent. Well, you're touching on a very broad topic. I think what I'd like to just remind everybody is how important, values are, I think. If you look at the difference between a family that grew up in the hunting shooting tradition, where the mother and father took their children out, taught them gun safety and responsibility, taught them how to proficiently use a firearm, and then you look at the outcomes. The outcomes are those families are safe. They don't have accidents. They, the kids grow up empowered. They have great experiences hunting and being part of the outdoors. They have respect for nature, respect for the neighbors. The type of people learn how to do for themselves and how to help other people. And I always tell everybody that's not familiar with the shooting industry or other, people that are hunters and shooters. I've never met a nicer group of people that you can count on, and you ever need anything, they're always there. So my experience is those type of people really are some of the most loving, caring people on the planet.
Agree.
They really are great people. So you look at the values where people aren't spending time with their children, not raising them in the outdoors, not giving them opportunities to learn about firearms in a safe environment. And then you thrust these kids into violent, schools and where they're not getting good education. And then they learn about firearms from other people that, are not interested in the tradition. So I think that's where a lot of the gun violence comes from, is a breakdown, and it comes out of a breakdown of values.
I couldn't agree more. It's one of those things, you want to be the one that tells your kids about something as important as gun safety. If you're not the one having the conversation about that with your kids, just like any other topic, I can think of, 10 right now, somebody on the playground is going to talk to your kid about it if you're not the one having that conversation.
That's true. I remember a conversation very vividly as a young man. I think my grandfather actually taught me how to shoot bolt action 22 when I was probably 5, maybe even younger. I remember my dad talking to me about firearms. But, the most dangerous firearm is the firearm that you go over to you go over to a friend's house that has the dad's revolver, and he doesn't know anything about it. He's only seen video games or TVs and movies, and they think it's a toy. And my dad's like, first thing and foremost is you always treat the firearm as it's loaded and only use it for intended purpose, which is to shoot targets or if you're hunting to shoot game. So I grew up in a situation, if somebody handed me a pistol or a rifle, even at a young age, I knew I would know how to use that safely. And one of the things I tell all my friends and things that are interested in providing safety and providing the last line of defense for their family if something bad happens, is keep those firearms locked away from the kids, keep them safe and secure, and teach them how to use it. And that way, if they come across one at a friend's house where they weren't doing what they should have, they can keep their family safe. So,
well, and I think that's a really important thing. You're right. It's, it's one of those things. You've got the rules, say you've got a pool. That's another safety issue. I think that's just as important to talk to a kid about. Even if you have a pool, if you don't have a pool, same if you have a gun or you don't have a gun. What happens on that play date when you've got your child who's a third grader and somebody says, "Hey, look what my dad has under his bed." Okay, well, have you taught your kid how to handle a situation like that? Or when the kids get older, let's say you've got some kids sitting around drinking beer, high school kids, not that ever happens ever. Okay. Yeah. But that happens. And then all of a sudden somebody's like, "Oh yeah, my parents have a gun in their closet. Let's go check it out." So have you taught your kid that, you know what, at that situation, nothing good can come of that. That's a time you need to excuse yourself and leave. You need to make sure, because that's, again, accidents happen. And just like pool safety or, safety driving, or, hey, if some kid's drinking and driving, you're not going to get in the car with them. This is what you need to do. Have you had that conversation with your kid about guns?
Yep, no, absolutely. I think that's right on. No, I think that, that's a big part of it. But, the truth is we do live in, we talked about this a little bit last time, but we need opportunities to teach our kids, to respect and to have responsibility. And I think that, entrusting a young person, taking them to the range, teaching them the safety and the proper use of a firearm teaches that. I think teaches a great amount of, trust in that child, which gives them confidence. That confidence gives them the ability to go forward and do other things, not just firearms. So I think firearms is a great lesson. And it's important that we continue that tradition and do it the right way. So one of the things that I would say that we at Sightmark, we want to make firearms that are, we make sights and scopes. We want to make that experience enjoyable. We want people to have great memories together, with their friends and family at the range. We want them to be confident and successful. We want them to feel good about that experience. And we want to share it with other people. So at the end of the day, a lot of what we try to do is try to make the outdoors, hunting, shooting more accessible, more enjoyable. And then we want our users to be as, as successful and confident in the sport as possible. And then in those situations where, and again, last resort, somebody's breaking into your home, you have, cops are 5-10 minutes away, and you have to defend your family. You want to make sure that the same skills and values and lessons that allow people to be safe and make sure that they're doing it the right way and protect their family. We hate that fact that it's the world we live in, but it is something that
it is. It's the reality.
Yep. Yeah, and I'd much rather know that we're out there protecting people from the criminals, the people that aren't using firearms the way they're intended. So anyway, for us, it's a great pleasure to be there with the good people who are trying to raise families the right way and doing it the right way. So.
Well, and we appreciate you so much, and we appreciate all the good advice, and we, again, JP and I can't wait to come out to the new facility. We're super excited about that. But again, how do people get in touch with you? How do they find your products? And then again, thank you so much for such great information.
Absolutely, and look forward to going deeper in the conversations in the months to come.
Yes.
Again, if anybody's interested in learning about Sightmark, go to www.sightmark.com. And they'll see about our products. Basically, we're available nationwide at every reputable gun store, shooting, hunting location. Academy, Cabela's, Bass Pro, and all the independents across the great state of Texas and other states in this great country of ours. So go check it out, look at the products. Hopefully get a chance to try them out. But we hope we can be a part of that journey with you and go out there, shoot confidently, hit your target, make your mark.
We love make your mark, Sightmark. Love it. All right, James, thank you so much. We appreciate your time today. Have a blessed week, and we'll see you soon.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right, great information as always from James Seller of SiteMark, just a dear friend to the crew, and somebody who's putting out great information about how to protect your family. And then, and again, we're going to continue to dive deeper into these conversations about how do you take care of your family, protect your family, and teach your kids at the same time, and kind of move those gun safety rules on to the next generation. Speaking of helping the next generation, that's a segue. We've got Congressman Van Taylor coming to us live. And Van Taylor, are you in D.C. or back in the district? Whereabouts are you today, and how are you today? Oh, I think we've got an audio issue.
Let me first say
good
morning, good morning, good morning.
There you go.
And
we love it.
I'm fortunately in Plano, Texas. I just got to speak to the Allen Sunrise Rotary.
Oh, awesome.
And, I'm on with you. So great
Love
to see
it.
everybody, and good morning.
Well, we appreciate you so much coming on. So let's, right off the bat, let's get an update on what's going on in Afghanistan. We've still got so many people who are concerned about it. We've had a number of members of the crew ask to have you talk about where does this leave us. We've got the 20th anniversary of 9/11 coming up literally right around the corner, hearing about security being tightened at sporting events and at concerts and big venues. What's it up? Please update us on Afghanistan, and then what do we need to do as Americans to proceed, intelligently and in a safe way with the 20-year anniversary of 9/11 coming up on this Saturday?
Yeah, it's the Biden administration has completely screwed this up. The reason it's the greatest foreign policy disaster of all time is because it's so hard to fix it and to know what to do. And so you've got, real problems. This has done, real harm to the NATO alliance. I think I may share with you a Republican colleague who serves on the Foreign Affairs Committee in the U.S. House told me that, two different NATO ambassadors told him, Trump would have never done this to us. We basically left in the middle of the night and, didn't bother to get input from our allies who had, served beside us and fought with us and died with us for 20 years in Afghanistan. And some of whom thought the right thing to do was to stay, but they weren't asked. They were told. And so, really shocking damage done to our NATO alliance. You have, we now have created, the Biden administration has allowed Afghanistan to become a terrorist Disneyland. Not only do the Biden administration allow terrorists to, have an entire country, the Taliban today, thanks to Joe Biden, is more powerful than it was 20 years ago, and it has more arms. $83 billion of arms are in Afghanistan. We have armed terrorists, we have empowered terrorists, and the third problem we have is we have Americans left behind. There are Americans and our allies that are trapped behind enemy lines, and it is unclear how many there are, and there is no plan to get them out. The Biden administration has said they want to get them out, but they just do not seem to have any idea about what they're going to do or how they're going to do it. And again, this is a foreign policy disaster because you don't know what to do. The problem, what they've broken, is so serious. Damaging our alliances, creating a terrorist training ground, and having Americans trapped behind enemy lines. The other thing I'll say is, Sweden has said that they will not recognize the Taliban and that they will not fund the Taliban. The Biden administration has said that they will send aid to Afghanistan, and they are toying with the idea of recognizing the Taliban. So,
that's staggering. I mean, I can't even. I'm stuttering and stammering on my words because how is that even a thought in anyone's head, Congressman?
The idea that you would need to tell an American president, hey, let's be tough on terrorists. Let's be at least as tough as the Swedes is shocking.
Yeah.
It is shocking.
Yeah.
It is really disappointing on so many levels. And, I mean, I hope that my fear is incorrect. I hope that there never is a terrorist attack again from Afghanistan on the United States. But you've got ISIS there, you've got Al Qaeda there. We know that Al Qaeda, set up training camps there 25 years ago, and they trained the 9/11 hijackers in training camps in Afghanistan. And so there is a track record of this. That's why we went there in the first place 20 years ago. And I'm very concerned that the Biden administration has set up a very dangerous situation for every American to be open to terrorist attacks.
I really have a hard time wrapping my head around this, Congressman, because these are conversations you never thought obviously, especially ever since 9/11, it seems like it shouldn't have been, should not be currently a political issue. We should always be able to feel safe to go to school, to the store, to work, out to the park and walk your dog, to a movie, to a restaurant, wherever you're going as an American here on American soil. For those of us who have not worn the uniforms or do not wear the uniform, we should have the expectation that when I walk out, at least I'm safe on my own soil. And I kind of feel like that's being left in the dust. And are we going to, what do we set ourselves up for at that point?
Well, and again, you just see the Biden administration so feckless, right? I mean, hey, we might consider, recognizing the Taliban. We will send aid to Afghanistan. It just, other countries done the right thing to do. And I actually joined on the legislation last week in Congress saying we should not recognize the Taliban. We should not fund the Taliban. And this is something that just, I mean, it's incredible how weak. So it's not just that, it's not just that Biden, didn't listen, failed to see, things happened that he was surprised by. He continues to make very poor decisions, refuses to be tough on terrorists, refuses to get Americans out, or cannot get Americans out, or doesn't know where Americans are there. And so it's very concerning.
It is, and rightfully so. I mean, this is one of those things that I really don't think it should matter if you've got an R or a D or if you identify with a certain party. At the end of the day, if we're not safe, discussions about taxation and discussions about pro-life and all these different discussions, if you are not safe traveling to and from your spots that you go to on a regular basis as a member of society, then we've got a problem. We've got a much bigger problem. And let's transition into something a little more hopeful, a little more encouraging, and that you've got a service academy, I believe, coming up in September.
Sure. Yeah. No, we have on September 25th at the Collin College Preston Ridge campus in Frisco, we have a service academy information forum. So that's for all the service academies. So West Point, Naval Academy, Air Force Academy, Merchant Marine Academy, and the Coast Guard Academy. And we will have a general session, and then we'll actually have breakout sessions where we actually have people that know West Point, know the admissions process, sit down and talk about West Point and why you should go, what the features are of the place, how to get in, things like that. This forum is actually to anybody. Obviously, it's focused on people from the 3rd District, but we have had people drive 2 hours to come to this forum because it's one of the few in the area, and they're serious and interested about going to West Point or finding out more about the Naval Academy, the Air Force Academy. As bad as things are with the Biden administration's feckless lack of leadership in Afghanistan, when you meet these young people and you realize that they're going to go and serve their country, go be in harm's way, it gives you a lot of hope for the future of our country.
Absolutely. It is very exciting because I think you hear so many negatives about kids, young adults out there nowadays. And some of it is what it is. You've got some kids who have, just kind of lived off of the stimulus check and they're partying and playing video games. But then you also have the kids who, they're 16, 17 years old, and they are literally just chomping at the bit to be able to go to a service academy so they can wear that uniform and they can serve their country, and they can do it, in a way that includes integrity and leadership and things of that nature, which sometimes you hear go by the wayside. So it's always very exciting to hear about kids like this. Is this something that you do every year? Because it seems like I remember you doing this in past years as well.
Yes, we do this every year. It's an annual event, and again, it's something that's really needed in our community. I mean, we have a lot of great individuals who, great young men and women who, graduate from high school and go to the service academies, and we want to make sure that we're helping them get a leg up. And part of it is helping them figure out, do I want to go? I think that's kind of the first step. And then can I get in? And how do I get in? And then one track that we do have is, for people that are a little bit weaker academically, we actually have we help them go to the preparatory schools. So there's a Naval Academy preparatory school I believe it's in Newport, Rhode Island. There's an Air Force prep school. There's a West Point prep school, and it's for a PG year, right? So it's for somebody who maybe academically wasn't as strong in high school. But you know what? We're going to spend. You have good test scores, so we're going to send you to a year to kind of help you bone up on your reading and your writing, your arithmetic, and then we'll send you on to West Point or one of the service academies. So that is a great opportunity. We help people with that, and so just helping people find all the different ways to go to the service academies and find what's a good fit for them. And I guess some people, the journey of self-discovery, you realize, hey, you know what? I thought I wanted to go to West Point, but I decided that I'm going to take an ROTC scholarship, instead,
Right.
or I'm not, I don't want to go to West Point. Actually, I want to go to the Naval Academy. So for some people, they come to this with just I'm interested in the military. Maybe I should think about, a service academy. And so they come and they listen and kind of, do I see myself doing that, and also, what am I going to do? I want to go to the Air Force Academy. I like the Air Force. I'm not sure what I want to do in the Air Force. I don't want to fly for whatever reason. And I think one year we had a young woman who, from Collin County,
right,
who had become a cybersecurity major at the Air Force Academy and was on the skydiving team.
Wow.
And had done over 1,000 jumps into.
Awesome. Oh, that's so awesome.
On the taxpayer dime, jumping out of airplanes every weekend, going to sporting events, for the Precision Air Force skydiving team. And she was a cybersecurity, expert in the Air Force. And so, she's got a bright future ahead of her, and she's serving her country, and she's doing it in the Air Force. And so, look, part of it is hearing those stories, seeing these different individuals in their action, and deciding, hey, what is it I want to do? And again, it's open for anybody. So if you know somebody who's a junior, it's designed for juniors in high school who has even the slightest inclination to go to a service academy. I highly recommend they go to this.
Perfect. And they can just get in touch with your office and talk to one of your staffers that way.
I'll have my staff put something on the Facebook screen, but you got just Google Van Taylor Congressman, and you'll see it, and we'll have a notice on our website for when the exact location. But it's on September 25th at Collin College, Preston Ridge.
Fantastic. Well, we really appreciate you. Anything else going on around the district? Have you heard, are you going to be at any events for the 20th anniversary of 9/11? Are you going to be paying tribute to those we lost?
I will be in McKinney Saturday morning. I've been asked to speak there at their event, so I'll be there remembering that fateful day. I'll just kind of, a quick story that I know you've heard me tell a few times, but while I was active duty in the Marine Corps and I joined the Marine Reserves, I continued to serve my country. I got my MBA from the Harvard Business School, which was in Boston.
Right.
My Marine Reserve unit was actually in Washington, D.C., and if you've flown into Reagan National and you look across the Potomac, you can see the Anacostia Naval Annex, which is actually where I would drill one weekend a month. And my last drill came up after I graduated from business school, and I was going to drive back to Texas and go start working. And there was a friend of mine getting married that weekend, and I called up the unit up and said, "Hey, instead of showing up Monday, Tuesday, can I instead of showing up Saturday, Sunday, which was drill weekend, can I show up Monday, Tuesday, and check out?" They said, "Hey, Captain Taylor, show up on Monday. We'll get you all checked out." And so showed up on Monday, did all my checkout. Tuesday morning, all I need to do is hand in my canteens. I figured, hey, it's 9 in the morning. I'll go over to the Pentagon. Never been. I always want to go. I'll grab lunch, go to Henderson Hall, go to Headquarters Marine Corps, check it out. Never always wanted to go over there and just walk around the building, just kind of see the Pentagon. But I never got there because that day was Tuesday, September 11th, 2001.
And everything changed.
I'll never forget watching the smoke come up from the Pentagon that day, and that we were under attack. And look, Marines were in Afghanistan, a few weeks later, and we deposed the Taliban and eliminated the terrorist training camps.
Right.
That was the right thing to do then, and we invoked Article 5. An attack on one is an attack on all. Yes. In NATO, and our NATO allies stood beside us. They stood beside us for 20 years, and unfortunately, the Biden administration has really, really screwed this up, and they continue to screw it up. I think that's probably the most upsetting part, is that they tried to say this is a successful withdrawal, and we should be so proud. And I just this is it's a disaster, and it continues to be a disaster. We still have Americans trapped behind enemy lines. The Taliban is they said, oh, we'll respect the rights of women. They've attacked women in the street. They've appointed an all male government, interim government. Right. The Taliban, we're gonna look and see what the Taliban does, says the Biden administration. But one of the things they told us in writing is that they would cut a deal with the Ghani government. They didn't do that. They deposed the Ghani government. Yeah. They violated. The agreement that they cut with President Trump. They completely violated that. Actually, since you're letting me ramble on.
Please do.
One of the big things that really has been frustrating to me is watch the Biden administration attempt to try to tell the American people, well, we left Afghanistan because Trump made us do it.
And that infuriates me. It's not true. It's not true.
It's a complete dissemblance of the facts. If you read the agreement, it's in black and white. It's in English. You can read it. And it required, it said, Taliban, if you do the following, if you get rid of al-Qaeda, if you go after al-Qaeda, if you do not attack the provincial capitals, and if you cut a deal with the Ghani government in Kabul, then we will leave. Right? So it set up a track for peace in Afghanistan. Taliban stops doing what they're doing, and they kind of come over to the side of good. Then we the United States will leave. Well, the Taliban, when Biden made that announcement, they had not cut a deal. They had integrated al-Qaeda into their command structure. The opposite of attacking and going after the Taliban, they'd actually cut a deal with the Taliban and al-Qaeda. And so, really, what President Biden did, he did not honor President Trump's agreement. He dishonored it.
Right.
He went the opposite direction of what was clearly in black and white. And it's been amazing to me that a lot of the mainstream media is either ignorant of what that deal says, didn't bother to read it, or just was going to let Biden, basically dissemble to the United States what that agreement said. It did set up a peace process. There's no question about that, but it did not. It was not done in a forthright way. So this administration has really botched it on so many levels. President Biden made a unilateral decision. I'm leaving. I want to leave. I'm out. And then he really screwed up, and he continues to screw it up. I think that's the most frustrating part of all, is that we continue to see, we're just not getting Americans out.
No, we're not. And I think what's frustrating for me, and I'll have to be honest with you, Van. I have to just sometimes just turn the news off, or I'll have folks, oh, Kathy, you've got to watch this clip. It infuriates me so much because I feel so disrespected as an American citizen, because our president is lying to us, and he thinks we're so stupid and so clueless, and that we're going to believe whatever he puts out there, whatever his press people put out there, whatever the liberal media puts out there, and that we're just going to believe these lies, and we're going to forget about innocent Americans and those who helped us over in Afghanistan. I think we would be it would be inhumane of us to just take that hook, line, and sinker and go, oh, okay, I guess so. If you're still over there and you're an American, you want to be over there, when that's not the case. I mean, do you feel like we're being so disrespected by the leader of the free world?
It's just heartbreaking what the lack of leadership. And I'll say that, the other part of the lack of leadership is in Congress. There is bipartisan will to make sure that every American and every American ally is pulled out of Afghanistan. And there is a bill that Mike Gallagher, Congressman, colleague, fellow Marine, filed that said we're staying behind until we get everybody out. Leave no one behind.
Right.
And that is very much part of my ethos as a Marine, particularly as a reconnaissance Marine.
Yes.
When you're going forward, behind enemy lines, leaving no man behind has a whole new meaning.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
For me personally, it's a visceral feeling that I have, particularly as an officer, as a platoon commander who's sending teams behind enemy lines. I mean, occasionally I would go behind enemy lines, but
right.
Sending teams out and hey, I have a commitment to every single one of you to bring you back.
Absolutely.
And this lack of and Congress could meet, this afternoon. Nancy Pelosi could call Congress in and say, we are telling the president, you're getting everybody out. Period. Full stop.
So if we had a Speaker of the House who wasn't trying to politicize this, you're saying that we do have an opportunity, or Congress does, to help these people. And I'm sure you're one of the congressmen. Again, you're chomping at the bit saying, hey, let's do this. But you're running into a brick wall.
Absolutely. We have that power. We have that ability. Congress is, it's some people say it's a co-equal branch. It really is the more powerful branch because it can tell the president what to do.
Right.
It could say, Mr. President, you are not leaving. You are instructed. Here it is in law. You cannot leave until everybody's out.
Right.
I mean, Congress has the ability to tell the president what to do, and it's in the Constitution. I mean, that is a constitutional power of the Congress.
The Constitution. Let's remember that document. Yes. Oh,
and so it is shocking to me that you have that not only is President Biden feckless and not doing a good job, but Congress will not step in to give direction and say, hey, get everybody out. I mean, look, I want to give credit to the Democrat members of Congress that said, hey, we need to get everybody out. There are many of them that
you're right.
As the Republican co-head of a group called For Country, 25 veterans, we stepped up as a group and said we want to get everybody out.
Right.
We want to get every American out, every ally out. We shouldn't leave. But the next step, which is the president wouldn't listen. He said, no, we're leaving people behind. I don't know how many I'm leaving behind. And, he's not even really trying as far as I can tell, he's not trying very hard to get them out. Doesn't seem concerned about it. Congress has the ability, if it wanted to put a law down to say, you're pulling everybody out, Mr. President. You're doing it.
Right.
But, Nancy Pelosi is not interested in doing that. She's interested in spending trillions of dollars, which will, fuel inflation and really hurt our economy for the next generation. I mean, this will be, I think, inflation is going to be a defining event for my children's generation.
I think you are absolutely, unfortunately, correct on that, and we really appreciate you spending some extra time with us today and talking about what's going on, because we've got so much going on at once. We're sitting here looking at 20 years past 9/11. Where are we as a country? And unfortunately, in the last few weeks, we've moved backwards as far as our safety. And then Congressman, you've got Americans who, I mean, and you see it. I mean, I know you're part of a lot of these groups where people are asking for prayers for the Americans over there, and you're hearing horror stories. You know, we've got missionaries over there. We've got people who are scared to death, yet they're trying to minimize it. The administration and Biden and his folks are trying to minimize this. At some point, you can't minimize human life.
Yeah. Well, and let me just say that, you know, some people have asked, well, what was the point of Afghanistan? And the answer was, for 20 years, we denied terrorists a safe haven to conduct training, to conduct attacks on the United States.
Right.
And so, you know, they didn't have that training ground for 20 years. They have it today. And you know, and look, when we pulled out of Iraq precipitously in 2012, we created a vacuum that ISIS filled. And ISIS sent terrorists to Europe, and they conducted attacks. We had to take that space back. Now, we did that primarily with Iraqi forces and U.S. air power.
Right.
But, you know, we were able to get that done and take ISIS back. You know, President Trump cleaned up Obama's mess in Syria by defeating ISIS, finally. You know, and President Biden has created a mess again. And the problem, again, it is a very difficult problem to solve. You know, when we invaded Afghanistan in 2001, a third of the country was under the control of the Northern Alliance. And so we were able to team up with the Northern Alliance to then in turn take over the rest of Afghanistan. There is no Northern Alliance now. There is a very, very, very small resistance in the Panjshir Valley. Of the 20 million people in Afghanistan, like something like 150,000 are in the Panjshir Valley. So it's just, you just have it is a much, much harder problem today than it ever was before President Biden made these terrible decisions and continues to make terrible decisions, and actually is interested in having you not even look at his terrible decisions, and even worse, is trying to tell you, oh no, this was a success.
No, we are being lied to. You know, Coach Quigley, one of the members of the crew, said, he said it's hard to decipher who lies more, Biden or the Taliban. So when your own American president is being put in the category, or has put himself in this category, you know, Americans are not stupid. We're intelligent, resilient people who can do our own research, and we know what's going on. So to continue to be lied to, again, I just feel like, you know, how dare you? How dare you? And so I was able to go to a great Labor Day rally where we celebrated Americans who work hard on Monday, and one of the things we talked about was 2022. And I know, and you've run for office a number of times, so you know every year is the most important year. Boy, howdy, 2022, Americans have got to wake up, and they've got to get out. This cycle of midterm elections, Congressman, is more important than ever, because you're right. If Republicans can get the House back, we can unseat Nancy Pelosi as Speaker, and then in a situation like you said today, you could be in D.C. casting a vote to make sure that every single American comes home safely.
Yep.
I mean, that's
we
simple.
We absolutely could do it. Yeah. No, it's really shocking. And look, the Taliban is ascendant, and China and Russia, which, in the geography of Afghanistan, it's probably the, it's unique in the world in that it is completely landlocked. And so, whereas most of the rest of the world, the U.S. Marine Corps could show up offshore and project, or a carrier group can go offshore and project. I mean, it's an 8-hour flight from Qatar to Afghanistan.
Right.
I mean, that's here to Hawaii.
Right.
It's a heck of a flight. It's a really difficult place to get to, but for the Chinese and the Russians, they can drive there.
I was going to say, it's just right around the corner. Yeah, and we've
mean,
got to pay attention to things like that. You cannot ignore that.
No, you ignored it at your own peril, and we ignored it in the 90s.
Yep.
At our own peril, and so, we hope that these terrorists that are being trained in Afghanistan don't come out to the United States, and they did.
And they did. Yeah.
September 11th, 2001.
Yep.
It was a fateful day. and I'm afraid that we're going to see that again. It's just hard to believe that we're looking to Sweden as being tough on terrorists. It's hard to believe that you would actually, Mr. President, you should be tough on terrorists. You shouldn't recognize a terrorist regime. You shouldn't fund a terrorist regime. But the American State Department said, hey, we're sending aid to Afghanistan.
Right.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and really the biggest news that I thought would come out from Sweden was that ABBA, after 40 years, is reuniting as a band. And instead, we're sitting here talking about them in a foreign policy matter. It's insane. This is like that episode, I think it was Seinfeld, that had a bizarro world, and it was like all opposite and topsy-turvy and upside down. That's unfortunately, and I'm making light of it because you can either laugh or you can cry. It's a real sad situation because look where we are. This is insanity that we're America, and doggone it, we're not acting like it because we've got a president who won't let us.
Yeah. Well, it is very unfortunate all the way around. So, thank you for listening. It's great to be with you.
We appreciate your time, and the crew appreciates you so much. And hopefully, some of us will be able to see you Saturday at the event in McKinney for 9/11. Just take care of yourself. Keep up the good work. Try to keep pushing back the forces of darkness. I know that's not an easy gig right now, but we do appreciate you and your leadership. Thanks so much, Congressman. Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Congressman Van Taylor of Congressional District 3, very fortunate that he is the congressman of us out here at Venture X here in Frisco, where we are broadcasting again this morning. We've got, we're very fortunate that we are represented by somebody who does understand Americans need to be safe. Unfortunately, when you get to D.C., the party in charge is blocking American safety at every angle. So it's just heartbreaking. Greg Abbott has called for a third special session. I think we're going to have either a state rep or have maybe Angela Paxton back on here in the next couple of weeks to talk about special sessions. We've had a couple of them. What has gone on? What have we been able to do? The Democrats finally came back. I have a feeling for this next special session, you will see Democrats with butts in seats because it's redistricting. And so everybody's looking at the new census material. The next legislative session, our third special session, Governor Abbott has called for the special session to begin at 10 a.m. on Monday, September the 20th. The agenda for the special session will focus on 5 items, including redistricting maps. So that is the drawing of your state rep lines, your state senate lines, your congressional lines. Lots of people are looking at that because of the census and all of the new information that has come out. Obviously, our population has grown, and so where will the new lines be drawn? So that's a key factor, and that's one of the things I know the Democrats are going to have a vested interest in that. So I assume they will not be taking a vacation during this session. We're going to have the United States, or the census. Again, like I mentioned, the Texas House of Representatives, the Texas Senate, State Board of Education, I forgot to mention that one, and the United States House of Representatives. The Texas legislature now has the opportunity to redraw legislative and congressional districts in accordance with the new census numbers, Abbott said in a statement on Tuesday. In addition to redistricting, there are still issues remaining that are critical to building a stronger and brighter future for all Texans. So we'll be definitely talking about this upcoming special session, which starts at 10 o'clock on September the 20th. Extremely important time for those state house members and our state senators who will be meeting. So stay tuned for more of that. Have a blessed day. What else do we have coming? We've got... I'm trying to think the Lawyer Show is back live tomorrow. Then Friday you'll see JP and I again, and we will have This Pink Cloud, the Snarky Parenthetical, and then a special Kilroy's Conversation on Saturday for 9/11. And then we will also have Ask Dr. Be Good on Sunday. So just I feel kind of crazy. Brett, it's like it's Wednesday. I feel like I've been absent for a couple of days or something. It's crazy. Anyways, we're hoping you have a blessed day and a blessed week, and we will see you soon. Take care.